Andy's coming tonight.
No, I'm sorry.
So, okay. So you ready to go? Okay. Scott, okay. Good evening. I'd like to call to order the East Hempfield Township Board of Supervisors meeting. Tonight's meeting has been advertised to be held in person and online using Zoom with login and call-in information posted to our website. Tonight's video and audio is being recorded. For tonight's meeting, Robert's rules will still apply, and the meeting will be run by the chairman, who will be assisted by an employee managing the Zoom site. During the meeting, in order to offer comment, you must first be recognized by the chairman. For people utilizing Zoom, you will need to use the chat function to be recognized. We ask that you text your name and your address, and your request to speak will be passed on by staff to the chairman to be recognized. Once recognized by the chairman, you will unmute your microphone, and after speaking, we ask that you please mute your microphone. East Hempfield Township public comment rules will apply for all public comment. You must be a resident or business owner in the township to speak. You must identify yourself by name and address before speaking and sign the guest log for meeting minute purposes, or follow the chat procedure previously discussed. Comment is limited to 3 minutes and must be about the agenda item being discussed, with the exception of public comment for non-agenda items. No action will be taken on any non-agenda item of a non-emergency nature during the public comment period. All comments should be directed to the board. I will now ask that we move on to our first agenda item. Please join me by rising for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. And now the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, our first item up for business on the agenda is the Tax Equity and Fiscal Responsibility Act of 1982.
Yes, Mr. Menser is here in the audience, and he can basically explain to you the generalities of what you need to do, and then certainly answer any of your questions.
Yes, so.
Mr. Menser, if you could go to the microphone for our people on Zoom. Thank you.
Okay, so the reason why I'm here is to hold a TEFRA hearing for the usage of tax exempt financing for the Mennonite Homes Falcon Point project. That's going to be a 35 unit apartment building adjacent to their main campus, correct? Or right down the road? Okay. So this public hearing was advertised on September 19th, 2023 in the LNP. The TEFRA Act requires a 7-day notice period, so we're well outside of that. The reason why we're here, the reason why the TEFRA, why this is happening is because any usage of tax exempt financing needs to be approved by the jurisdiction that houses the project. So since this Falcon Point project is going to be located in East Hempfield Township, anybody from the public that wishes to comment on the usage of tax exempt financing for that project has the form to do so. That's this right now. I can answer any questions regarding the tax code. John can answer any questions regarding the specific project. If you have any questions from the commissioners or the supervisors or the public, we can take those now.
Okay. I myself have none on the board. Mr. LaFever?
No, sir, thank you.
Mr. Bennett?
So this particular tax act doesn't really impact us in any way
No, it doesn't
from a
impact
tax
you
standpoint,
whatsoever.
taxing standpoint. Okay.
It's just a little idiosyncrasy of the tax code that I guess in the 80s, there were some bad actors using tax exempt funds to do things that people found unsavory. So now you have to state what you're doing in a public hearing and have people comment on that if they desire.
That's good. Thank you.
Mr. Russell?
Do we know like any information about the project, where it's located, or you're gonna go over all that?
Yeah, we certainly can. John, do you want to come up and just give a brief overview or as detailed as they'd like to get?
Yeah, so the Woodcrest campus is 130 acres in total, and the master plan, we've been revising and updating over time. We've built multiple projects at the Woodcrest. It's 2001 Harrisburg Pike, across from the LGH Health Campus. And so this is really a companion building to the building that we built in 2018 called Pheasant Point. So it's a 35-unit apartment building, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, balconies on every unit, ranging in size from 12 to 1,700 square feet per unit. So.
Thank you.
All right. With that, we'll open up any questions from the audience. Is there anyone here who has any questions that they would like to ask or comments in regards to this? Okay. Seeing none, is there any on Zoom?
No.
Okay. All right. So at this point, we will close the hearing. It's 7:07 PM. And then, Mrs. Schweitzer, my understanding is then we will take up a consideration for the resolution, and we can do that now, or is that later in the agenda?
It's listed for now, but you can certainly do it under action items as well.
Okay. I'd prefer that we address it now.
Sure.
Scott? Okay. In regards to this, do we need to read the motion into the record?
No.
Okay. I'm sorry, the resolution rather. So, with that, excuse me here. Is there a motion to approve resolution 2023-2022? Excuse me, 2023-22, which grants approval of the Mennonite home financing package, which provides for exemption from federal income taxation?
So moved.
Okay, motion for Mr. Bennett. Is there a second?
Second.
Second for Mr. Russell. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, gentlemen, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Up next is our consent agenda. These are routine items which require very little discussion or debate. Those of you, hopefully everyone's had a chance to review it. Are there any concerns or comments reference to the agenda, or excuse me, the consent agenda?
I'll be abstaining to a perceived conflict.
Okay. Do you want us to pull that out, or do you?
I think you got the votes for it.
Okay. All right. With that in mind, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Okay, motion for Mr. LaFever. Is there a second?
Second.
Second for Mr. Bennett. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Motion carries 3-0 with one abstention. Thank you.
Just to note, Mr. Chairman, that was items A and C through F. B was removed.
Yes. Sorry about that. Thank you.
Mhm.
Action items, the Panantoni Development Company.
Mr. Koval is here representing Panatone. He's with the JHA Group. This is a standard sewer planning module for a new treatment facility at this warehouse facility that's being built at the corner of South Chickies and Spooky Nook, I believe. And he's here to explain the actual treatment facility they're proposing.
Okay.
What we have here is the options that we presented was, go into another municipal system, which was too far away, obviously cost prohibitive. A treatment facility that would discharge into Little Chickies Creek, and the alternate on-lot system, which is what, the preferred alternative. The reason for that is, going into Little Chickies Creek to discharge, that would have put the development into phosphorus and nitrogen limits and buying credits for through the Chesapeake Bay requirements for that. So by doing an alternate on-lot system, The two systems, it's a pre-treatment system, packaged pre-treatment system is up front. And that is at the 3,000 gallon per day plant, packaged pre-treatment system by Infiltrator Systems. And then that will go into a micro drip micro system, which has been approved. Both systems are pre-approved by DEP. So all we have to do is submit the permits and the design of them, as long as they meet the design criteria in the pre-approved letters from DEP, then we can, the permit should be good to go. We did all the hydrogeologist studies, did all the soil testing at the site, and it meets all the requirements to be allowed to do this system.
Okay, any questions from the board, Mr. LaFever?
It would help maybe to know the orientation of the plan, of the facility on the plot. Is it the lower left-hand corner?
Yes,
Okay,
or
Right hand,
below right-hand corner,
furthest away from
right up
Chickies.
above there.
oh,
There-
okay,
There's your little treatment facility is in black circled, and then the drip micro drain or micro system is in are those 5 trenches there.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Bennett?
Could you give us some idea why there is a need for this versus what you may have thought you needed initially?
We need a sewer treatment plant, one way or the other, in order for the warehouse and distribution center to be realized, for the sewer.
Did you say you couldn't connect to a municipal system? Was that
Yes,
that was, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
we looked at 3 alternatives: connecting to a municipal system, putting a package treatment plant in with a discharge into Little Chickies Creek.
I'll do that.
And then this was the third alternative, was to do a drip irrigation system,
Okay.
micro drip irrigation system.
Thank you.
Good. Any questions or comments from the audience? Okay. Any from Zoom?
No.
Okay. All right, well then, hearing none, is there a motion to approve resolution 2023-23, amending the Township 537 sewage facilities plan to allow for a new treatment facility for the 283 Commerce Hub warehouse project?
I'll move.
A motion for Mr. Russell. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. LaFever. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, the Centerville Square Shopping Center, 590 Centerville Road. I believe this is for the UPS store. Yes.
I believe we do have a graphic that will help represent it.
Brought hard copies too, if it passes out. Oh, here you go. There you go.
Hi, my name is Kevin Long. I'm a partner with Centerville Development Company on the Centerville Square Shopping Center since 1986. And one of our tenants is here tonight, UPS store. They're located on the northern wing of the shopping center. And I'm joined tonight by Andrew Gordon and Nicole Saraki, who are the owners of the store. And they purchased the store a couple of years ago, and their business has expanded. They do a lot of packaging and shipping of online auction items, and they need additional space. So we had our architect draw up a plan, and we submitted to the township, and I believe it's been blessed by the township reviewer, subject to a land development waiver, which we're here tonight to request.
So for me, this is pretty routine. Good business. We're glad to have you here. I really have no concerns or no comments, so I'll turn it over to Mr. LaFever.
Concerns?
Okay.
Glad to see expanding business.
Yes. Any questions or comments from anyone else in the audience? on this? Okay. Hearing none, is there a motion to grant a waiver of land development for the proposed 400 square foot addition to the center at 590 Centerville Road, Unit O? Is that correct? O? Okay.
So moved.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Bennett. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Russell. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. You guys do a great job. Thank you. Up next, community map.
Turn that over to Diane.
Okay. So as I would think most of you are familiar, about 10 years ago, we did a community map. It's a, let me put that up, share this for you. This is not ours, but this is a sample of what that map looked like. On the other side of the document is lots of community information that we put out for the community. And now that that map is 10 years old, we'd like to create an updated map for the community. We regularly get requests for them from new citizens as well as business owners and others. And so we have met with Print Maps, which is about the only company left that creates these community maps for Pennsylvania municipal governments. And we have discussed the project with them, shared our previous map, which was done by another company that's no longer in existence. And what we would like from you is approval to move forward with this project. It is a no-cost project to the township. The map is completely funded by the advertising that you see around the outside of the map. The map company reaches out to our local businesses. Many of those who funded the previous map 10 years ago are still in business. She'll reach out to them first and work with them to provide any advertising that they'd like, and then also reach out to other new businesses and longstanding stakeholders in the community to give them that opportunity. But of course, before we do that, we need the board's approval, since the project is a township project, and the company will be working on our behalf to get sponsors for that project. So if you have questions about that, I can answer them for you. Otherwise, it's been a very well-received project, and staff are excited to potentially move forward with it and get it developed. It would take the place of our spring newsletter in 2024.
I have none.
I'm just surprised. Time flies. It doesn't seem like 10 years ago since we did this. It's a great thing to do for the township.
No issues here whatsoever. I support, the only thing is if this is going on community-wide, I would like a board approval of the final product too.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Any questions or comments from the audience on this? Any questions or comments from Zoom?
No.
Give me a minute, gentlemen. I just had a computer malfunction. Okay, is there a motion to authorize staff to move forward with the print to create a community map for the township, subject to final approval of the Board of Supervisors?
So move.
A motion by Mr. Russell. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Bennett. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. Up next, we have Aher Park Phase 2. And before we get started with this, when I looked over it, I had hoped that the numbers would be a little bit better for us than what they've come in at. And I guess I do have a little bit of concern before we commit to doing this. I would at least like to go through our budget meeting, which we have at the end of this month. And I'd also like to have Mrs. Schweitzer look into seeing what the likelihood or possibility is of receiving additional grant funding. That said, it's not that I'm against it, but I just want to be clear on what we're facing going forward with our budget. And that would be my comment or my ask of the board. And with that, I'll turn it over for discussion.
I agree with your sentiment, and this is a situation we are going to encounter going forward with all of our projects. I do feel we have an obligation where we have grant money and we have a commitment to do something to complete those projects. I think the caution needs to be for any future expenditures, and we will address that at the end of the month.
Mr. Bennett?
Yeah, absolutely. The cost on this is up about 30% over what we had originally budgeted at. So I think it would be prudent to wait and see if we can get perhaps some additional grants. I note that this particular grant that we're involved with right now is good until 2026, so we don't need to be in any real hurry. So I support your caution.
Mr. Russell?
I'm good with tabling it right now.
Are there any questions or comments from the audience on this? Any from Zoom?
No.
All right. Hearing none, is there a motion to table the AHER Phase 2 project until after we review additional grant funding opportunities and also review our 2024 budget?
Moved.
Okay, motion for Mr. Bennett. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second for Mr. LaFever. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. Vehicles to be sold at auction in line with our fleet management program.
So we have a fleet management program through Enterprise Fleet, and we have 3 vehicles presented to you here that are scheduled for sale at auction and will be replaced with new vehicles. I actually take that back. The 2007 Ford Fusion is not being replaced. That's just going away.
We have, these are some vehicles that we had before we entered into the agreement.
These are vehicles that we actually own yet. We own maybe a handful.
Do we have any others coming from our ownership? Or is this the end of?
Do we have 4, 5?
I think there's 4.
4.
So we do still have some
4
to,
that we still own.
okay,
Yes.
Several of which we'll get rid of in the 2024
okay, thank you.
fleet program.
Any other questions on this? Okay, any questions or comments from the audience on this? Any from Zoom? Okay. All right. Hearing none, is there a motion to sell the 3 vehicles listed, 2016 Jeep Cherokee, 2007 Ford Fusion, 2017 Ford Explorer at auction?
So moved.
Motion for Mr. Bennett. Is there a second?
Second.
Second for Mr. LaFever. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. Any old business? Hearing none. Any new business? Okay. Hearing none. Any public comment? Okay. We're headed for a record. Anyone from Zoom on that? Okay. Managers report.
So Centerville Road South is plugging along. They have just completed some night work and some work on Estelle. I don't know that there's anything else that you wanted to add to that.
The only thing would be that the changeover from the northbound to the southbound side of Centerville Road will occur the first weekend in November. 30 will be completely inaccessible from Centerville Road over that weekend. We'll put lots of information out moving forward on that. But the first weekend in November is the changeover from the old pavement to the new pavement, which is significantly higher, requires adaptations to the ramp and so on.
So Old Warriorstown Road Bridge project, as you know, is kind of stalled. There's several issues that they're trying to work through. I am now trying to schedule a meeting with PennDOT representatives and McCormick Taylor, who is the designer on the bridge, in hopes of getting the details worked out and we can begin moving forward on that project. Farmingdale Road is moving towards completion. The signal at Marietta is of course in place. This new signal at Orville and Good is also in place and will be turned on officially tomorrow. And work will begin at the Farmingdale and Orville intersection where that pork chop concrete barrier will be in place. Unfortunately, that road is very narrow, that intersection is very narrow. So when they put in that concrete, they're going to actually close the road. Hopefully for overnight, but it could be as long as 4 or 5 days. The signs are going up today to warn people, and it's going to probably happening starting next week. So, and that will be the closure of the project or the end of the project, and that should be complete then. Stony Battery Road, I did clear the trail system. I did clear out the 791 Stony Battery issue. That's all done in place. The TE connectivity, we now have comments back from TE connectivity. Our engineer and attorney are looking at them to see if we can work through the issues, which are fairly minor. We talked about the Aher Park Phase 2 stormwater projects. I am getting updates from our engineer as to what the status of those are and updating some of their budget numbers so that we know what those are moving into the budget season. Had several committee groups, public safety met. We talked about recent calls for service. We talked about the license plate reader program, the National Night Out at the Aher Park, which was very successful. Improvements done to the intersection of Landisville Road and Junction and Landisville Road and South Colebrook, which seems to, I believe, have reduced the number of accidents at those two intersections. We've also looked at South Colebrook and the Junction Trail Crossing. We have concerns there, the speed of the traffic flowing through that area and the trail crossing. More to come on that as staff takes a look at that. We, Chief Brubaker talked about an evaluation form that she revamped, and also the promotional process has been revamped. She discussed the 2024 budget requests and the 2024 staffing proposal requesting a 35th officer for the detective division. Under fire, we talked about the stipend program status, the part-time staffing at Warriorstown, and the MTFR contract. And we also reviewed the 23 and 24 budget needs for the fire. Park and Rec, we talked about the Aher Phase 2. We talked about Jacobs Creek and the replacement of those pieces of equipment, which will be part of the 2024 budget, and also the Nordora Park project, which is currently on hold until we get through some of these other projects. But that also involves a DCNR grant. The IC board held their meeting, which covers our self-insured healthcare program. We are looking at a 12.4% rate increase, which is high for us. Probably fairly low for the private sector, but 12.4 is something that we haven't seen for quite a number of years. And that's strictly due to our claim fund not covering it. We also had a pension board meeting on the 28th, reviewed the performance through June of 2023, and we discussed the MMO impact and market trends. We also talked about asset smoothing and market value of assets to lessen the impact of the pension costs starting in 2025. Any questions? Be happy to answer.
I have none. I just would add to those meetings that we did have an executive session at our last meeting from 7:55 to 8:30 PM.
Thank you.
Anything I'll add is every one of those items we need to be talking in the budget meeting, because those are all big ticket cost items onto our budget right now.
Agreed. So do we have anything else for the good of the order? Okay. Hearing none, we will adjourn our meeting at 7:31 PM. Thank you. No, we didn't, but it was good.